What happens if, after a single simple glance, your world gets turned upside down? Where the desire and identity collide in their most raw form of love. Welcome into the world of Blue is the Warmest Color, where passion and heartbreak color every moment. Today we dive deep into the life of Adele, a girl coming of age, falling in love, and finding herself. Stick to the end and see how that all comes out in ways so tender and devastating. Our story involves a high school student, Adele, residing in Lille, France. She lives an ordinary, quiet life. The love of literature is great on her part, and she does spend most of her time in books, usually searching for tales of passion with meaning, maybe something she didn't find in her own life. Her classroom scenes set the tone early. Surrounded by classmates talking about boys and romantic fantasies, Adele looks contemplative, almost disengaged. She's curious but tentative when it comes to the relationships. Before she knows it, Adele arouses the interest of a classmate named Thomas. He seems just right for a routine high school romance, gallant, charming, and insistent. Her friends prod her for every detail, teasing her on how thrilling it is to experience first love. But here's where things start to get interesting. Even though she says yes to going out with Thomas, something doesn't click for Adele. Their conversations sound hollow. Their kisses lack the spark she reads about in novels. You see it in the distance of her expressions. She's searching for something deeper, something real. This conflict reaches an even bigger height in a poignant scene, showing her and her friends gossiping about love, sex, and what is expected of them over lunch at school. Adele tries to play along, while inside she struggles with her confusion about what it is that she really wants. It is in this period of her life that Adele has dreams and fantasies that send her both soaring and unsettled. These are hints of her slowly beginning to awaken sexuality and emotional journey, really subtly. The brilliance of this opening salvo lies in the relatability of it. Who has not felt sometimes that they do not know the right position in this world, or whether they are being real or not? Adele's story resonates because it's not about love. It is about self-discovery buried beneath society's expectations. What is immediately captivating about Blue is the Warmest Color from the very first scenes is how raw it renders the portrait of adolescence. It does not try to avoid that awkwardness associated with self-discovery, and the vulnerability in Adele is heartbreaking yet simultaneously beautiful. Everything changes on a rather uneventful afternoon walk through town. It is then that Adele finds herself staring at an androgynous, blue-haired woman who is walking hand in hand with another girl. Time comes to a standstill, and the world fades out around Adele. In this briefest of moments, a charged energy passes between them, incomprehensible to either. It is in this glance that Adele's journey truly begins, a journey of love, desire, and heartbreak. The girl with the blue hair becomes a symbol of all that Adele is searching for, but cannot quite articulate yet. As viewers, we're hooked because we've been set up to follow Adele's emotional transformation. The introduction shows us the quiet discontent of her life, making us crave the change that we sense is coming. The filmmakers instill tension with subtlety in storytelling. There are no overwhelming moments, just the small, everyday beats of life that slowly unravel Adele's inner turmoil. All this forms a foothold to what transpires through the rest of the film, where love will become both a sanctuary and a battleground for Adele. And it is not as if her trajectory was forthright, because neither is her heart. In the busy streets of Lille, enveloped by the daily grind, one of those days that feels just like every other becomes a turning point for young Adele. Amongst the jostling crowd, she finds her eyes locked on an explosive presence. Emma, with blue hair, is an art student. This brief yet deep eye-to-eye contact leaves its mark on Adele and awakens something in her that she doesn't fully understand. This is an encounter, more than a collision of eyes. It's the collision of worlds. Adele, a 15-year-old high school student, is embedded in a routine life that society has imposed on her. She spends her days with academic pursuits and the known rhythms of teenage life. In contrast, Emma represents freedom and self-assuredness, her blue hair a symbol of bold defiance to conformity. This visual distinction greets Adele's attention, but also represents the glamour of a life less ordinary. The power of this moment is in its subtlety, no words spoken, no gestures, just the glance, speaking volumes. The film shows just how wonderfully translucent deep emotional currents can be with a very minimalist story. This wordless connectedness shakes up something in Adele, which would soon raise a number of questions about her desires and the path she had thus far been following. As Adele goes about the rest of her day, Emma lingered in her mind. This obsessive thought signals the beginning of the inner change in her. The meeting is a mirror to Adele, showing her thoughts bottled up inside and the life she could have beyond what she was living. It's the spark that will light up her path towards self-discovery and love. This is visual storytelling, pure and simple. The director has assumed a naturalistic approach, and the depth of their relationship is conveyed in the articulation of characters through their facial expressions and gait. In the background is a busy street that shows the seclusion of this shared moment amidst a crowd of people. Close-ups are used to show the intensity of the gaze, sucking the audience right into the intimacy of the encounter. Moreover, the choice of setting, a busy street, underscores the randomness and unpredictability of life. It's a reminder that profound connections can occur in the most unexpected places, altering our trajectories in unimaginable ways. For Adele, this chance meeting becomes the cornerstone of her personal evolution, challenging her perceptions and reshaping her future. Emma's blue hair is not anodyne nuance, it talks. Blue, a colour generally related to depth and stability, speaks of wisdom, confidence, and intelligence. In this context, the colour represents the unknown and allures in its mystery and the bravery of being oneself. The striking appearance of Emma stands as a beacon, drawing Adele toward authenticity and passion. This initial encounter sets the stage for exploring the themes of class conflict, self-discovery, and love's transformation, which have been crucial in the movie. Adele's attraction toward Emma has been way over physical appeal. It's more of a pull to another different way of being, toward life promising release from the tight clutches of society. Their first encounter is one telling scene that carries the weight of the film's exploration of love, identity, and personal growth. In one mutual glance, a world of possibilities opens up, sending Adele on a journey of self-discovery that defies convention and her own perceptions. It's a powerful reminder of the transformative potential inherent in our everyday encounters. Switch to the next scene. As we go deeper into Adele's journey, the spark that has been instigated grows into a deep connection. Continue with us as we delve into the succeeding moments of their relationship, which starts with the coincidental meeting in a local bar that propels them to the heights of their relationship. Ever since that first soul-shaking vision of Emma on the teeming streets of Lille, Adele has been consumed by this enigmatic blue-haired woman. Days of restless longing, an irresistible attraction toward the unknown, were spent in torments. This inner turmoil pushes her to find Emma, which brings her to the doorstep of a lesbian bar foreign and intimidating to her. The moment Adele crosses the threshold of the bar, she is immediately struck by a world that starkly contrasts with her familiar surroundings. The darkened lights throw shadows across the room as the vivid tapestry of free expressions is embroidered into every contour of the place. The air vibrates with hums of conversations, bursts of laughter, and clinking glasses. Adele is out of place. Conservative in dress, she stands hesitantly amongst bold expressions of self. Adele navigates the crowd, her eyes roaming across the space for the blue-haired muse that has taken over her mind. Her heart races in a mixture of anticipation and trepidation as she is more and more uncomfortable in this unknown environment. Each passing glance from the patrons of the bar increases her feeling of isolation. Just as doubt begins to overcast her resolve, the sight of that familiar flash of blue catches her eye. Amidst a tangle of animated friends, Emma stands there, her head afire in a room lit dimly enough, it seems, solely for the gloom. The sight of her ignites a spark in Adele. A mixture of relief and exhilaration washes over her. Emma's eyes lock with Adele's, a hint of recognition passing between them. She leaves her circle and walks toward Adele with a warm, welcoming smile. Finding Adele at ease, Emma takes over the scene where several patrons tease the new employee. Playful yet protective, she introduces Adele as her cousin, releasing the tension and giving Adele a foothold within this alien environment. This is an act of kindness that bridges the two girls' very different worlds. Emma saves Adele from embarrassment and perhaps humiliation at the hands of her peers, but also takes responsibility for initiating her into this world. It's a scene that captures the origins of their developing relationship at once attraction, understanding, and curiosity. As night falls, Emma introduces Adele to her group of friends. The people in this group are a mosaic of artists, intellectuals, and free spirits, all more confident and authentic than Adele has ever perceived anyone to be. Their conversations flow swiftly on art, philosophy, love, and identity. Adele listens intently to the vibrant energy that surrounds her. Emma, as sensitive as ever, stays near Adele to explain and provide insight so she doesn't feel left out. There's subtle flirting going on between them, a touch that lingers, a shared laugh, or a gaze that holds a second too long. The chemistry between them is undeniable, magnetic forces pulling them closer with each passing moment. In this dark, smoke-filled bar, with murmurs of conversations, Adele has a rude awakening. The encounter challenges her preconceived notions of herself and the world around her. The boundaries that once defined her existence begin to blur, replaced by a thrilling yet daunting sense of possibility. The Lesbian bar is the crucible within which Adele's transformation unfolds, a place where strictures of social convention are overturned, and authenticity of a kind, no matter how tawdry, predominates. The threshold into that world was almost a door in some other dimension, whereby she finally got to release the parts of herself she so long suppressed. Emma becomes instrumental in this journey. She is at once the guide and the muse, showing paths that Adele had never dreamed she would take. It is through Emma that Adele gets introduced to a world of artistic expression and intellectual debate that opens up her horizons and challenges her to question the limitations she has internalized. In the end, the whole evening blossoms into an apogee of shared tenderness. The group disappears, leaving Emma and Adele to themselves, with what has not been said between them already hanging in the air. City lights cast a soft glow on their faces as they walk side by side, the silence punctuated by the distant sounds of nightlife. She stops at a quiet corner, turns to Adele, her eyes searching. The air is thick with anticipation, the world around them fading into obscurity. In this suspended moment, the barriers that have kept them apart dissolve. Emma leans in, lips brushing against lips in a soft exploratory kiss. In the world of Adele, this peck on the lips is one of those illuminating moments, an assurance of this fire that gradually warms inside of her and is a warranty of her passions and a foreseen future, so big yet which she hardly dared dream. Simplicity turns out to be a thin disguise for profundity. It marks the beginning of a quest that will scar, change, and eventually define her. When they say goodbye tonight, Adele has a heady mix of feelings. The accident at the bar has made her aware of another reality, replete with thrilling possibilities and mysteries. What the future holds for them is left in the dust, but knowing Emma by her side, the more courageous Adele is going to dive inside her identity, boundless like a landscape, which is called love. With this connection between the two girls, there will now be an exploration of shared experiences and changes. As their accidental meeting at the Lesbian bar develops into an acquaintance, the bond between Adele and Emma strengthens. The time they spend together is often a leisurely picnic amidst the sun-dappled park. The setting reflects the innocence and excitement of this blossoming love. They sit on a blanket, wrapped in the greenery of the park, where the ambience is serene and quiet. The soft rustle of leaves and chirping of children playing elsewhere set this as a haven, another world, free from the evaluating gaze of society, wherein they can unfold their feelings. As they share food and conversation, their dialogue would flow effortlessly, punctuated by shared laughter and lingering glances. The camera frames these instants in the most personal of close-ups, shot after shot, underlining every minute nuance of their interaction, the sparkle in Emma's eyes when talking about her art, or how Adele holds her smile a microsecond longer as she listens to Emma speaking. The picnic choice holds an important purpose. It represents simplicity and purity, which characterizes the unaffected nature of feelings at this time. The openness of the park, unlike, say, some small bar or the frenzy of the big city, also allows them simply to be free, to have their affection unwrapped. The afternoon wears on, and in that comes a sense of the air changing, a quiet tension, almost palpable, signaling the desires left unsaid between them. Emma reaches up and brushes a strand of hair from Adele's face. Her fingers touch for a brief second. Adele's breath catches as her eyes search Emma's for reassurance. In this moment, suspended in the balance, all else fades into oblivion. Ambient sounds of the park fade to some general buzz, and there is naught but a space between them, a space filled with the promise of expectation and words unspoken. Emma leans in, her movements slow and deliberate, allowing Adele plenty of time to retreat if she so desires. But Adele stays there, her eyes fluttering shut as their lips meet in a soft, tentative kiss. It's a kiss that speaks of discovery, of the thrill of venturing into uncharted territory. The camera lingers on that moment, which captures the most raw vulnerability and passion of the first kiss between them. The feeling is never rushed. Instead, it shows the gentle study of two souls finding comfort within each other. The sun brims through the trees, adding a golden touch to them, as if even nature was joining in the blessed union. This kiss is way more than the act itself, a profound confirmation of feelings. This is the crystallization of some clarity within her mind that it is more than curiosity. What she feels towards Emma goes deep inside. An admission to the deepest craving within her has its answer in the arms of Emma. For Emma, the kiss means much more than the mere act. It is a bond that transcends the flesh, an interchange of souls and hearts, promising a love at once fierce and profound. In Adele, she sees a kindred spirit, someone who resonates with her on a level she hadn't anticipated. This is further brought out by the setting of this moment. The park, with its open skies and greenery, speaks to the virgin territory they are about to enter. It's a judgment-free zone where their love can thrive unhampered. As they pull away, their eyes meet, and a shared smile passes between them, a silent acknowledgement of the bond they've just solidified. The world slowly comes back into focus, the distant chirping of birds, the soft murmur of the breeze, but something fundamental has shifted between them. This picnic scene is a masterclass in the conveyance of the subtleties of new love. The immediacy of the natural lighting, along with the intimate framing of the shots, creates a sense of immersion. The audience is not just watching this moment. They are experiencing it with Adele and Emma, feeling the flutter of first love, the exhilaration of mutual discovery. Besides, the scene is a turning point in their story. This is the point where their friendship would turn into a love affair, which gradually would get into complications and difficulties. The sanctity of this first kiss, compared to what they go through later, is a reminder of how beautiful love can be, unadulterated. The park picnic is a scene of extreme delicacy, capturing the hearts of Adele and Emma's romance. Speaking innocence, excitement, and deep connection with each other with meager dialogues and evocative imagery. A moment that engraves in the mind and speaks volumes about subtle storytelling and common human feelings. As Adele and Emma draw closer, the two must confront complexities regarding love, identity, and societal expectations. In Blue Is the Warmest Color, explicit bedroom scenes between Adele and Emma are not just demonstrations of bodily intimacy, but poignant searches for identity, desire, and the complicated nature of love. As Adele and Emma's relationship edges from a physical attraction towards overwhelming love, the narrative of the story becomes filled with physical intimacy. Given critical reception, the treatment of the sexual relationship between the two lesbians in the film has received wide attention, not because it is explicit, but also because it is narratively relevant. The first love scene between Adele and Emma is long and explicit, showing the depth of their newfound passion. The camera lingers on their intertwined bodies to emphasize the raw passion and vulnerabilities they share. This is a no-frills version, far from the usual gloss of cinema, but in its naturalistic look of intimacy. These scenes are highly structured and say much more than the simple union of two bodies. They develop emotional and psychic topographies for these characters. The scenes are transitional for Adele in a lot of ways in self-discovery. It is in these intimate moments with Emma that she learns to comprehend and come to terms with her sexual identity, letting loose from society's stronghold and personal reservations. These scenes have been quite controversial in terms of explicitness for both viewers and critics alike. Some find them too long and explicit, while others deem them necessary to portray the level of attachment between Adele and Emma. The way the director presents these scenes sans censorship makes the viewers address their perception of sex and intimacy. Cinematically, these close-ups and long takes create the kind of immersion into the character experience that generates immediacy and intimacy. The complete lack of musical score during these scenes increases the realism, putting all concentration on the characters' sounds and movements. Notably, such scenes also point out the power relationship in the bond between Adele and Emma. The more assured and experienced Emma continuously takes the lead in order to guide Adele through those dimensions of desire and self-expression that the latter is yet unfamiliar with. This becomes an important moment in accounting for further developments in their relationship and the problems surfacing within it. These scenes also continue to stir controversy in discussions of the male gaze and depictions of lesbian relationships in cinema. Some have gone so far as to say that this is in no way about real lesbianism, but rather images titillatingly about what men think the lesbians want. This opens up a larger question about representation, authorship, and filmmakers' responsibilities regarding the depiction of marginalized communities. Whatever the debates may be, intimate scenes are surely indispensable to the story. It shows the very deepest layer of the connection between Adele and Emma, since the physical reflects the emotional state of their affair. The strength of their intimacy speaks to the profundity of their influence upon each other's lives in defining their identity and their fate, In essence, such explicit bedroom scenes in Blue is the Warmest Color are far more than just depictions of physical acts. This is a narrative device running across identity, desire, and fumbling with that of human connection. Through these moments, the film forces viewers to confront their own perceptions and biases, framing a raw, unfiltered look into the transformative power of love and intimacy. As Adele and Emma's relationship keeps evolving, they face personal growth, societal expectations, and the inevitable changes brought about by time. That feeling of alienation is poignantly captured in Adele's experience at Emma's art gallery party, a widening chasm between their worlds. As Emma's art career is taking off, she holds a sophisticated gallery party for a group of intellectuals and artists. Adele is from the lower classes and has been feeling more and more out of place, underscoring the growing differences between her and Emma's world. The scene opens with Adele entering the gallery where well-dressed guests discuss the arts and culture with animation. The camera captures her awkwardness. She visibly looks ill at ease through the crowd. This moment comes in stark contrast to the intimate settings they have shared, and it brings forth the social divide between them. The unease of Adele is also made more striking in her attempt to speak with the colleagues of Emma. The dislocation from the art world shows as she stutters over sophisticated dialogues that keep cropping up around her. The scene is quite poignant as she finds herself feeling alienated, recognizing for the first time how life with Emma has placed her within a world that is largely incomprehensible to her. The use of color within this scene in the film is striking too. Emma and her friends usually appear in soft, refined hues, while Adele's clothes and manner seem loud, and that this film speaks of her outsider status via such subtle means is quite telling. This visual contrast depicts class disparity and the impossibility of crossing between different social worlds. But in the course of the evening, Adele continues to isolate further and watches the manner of her lover, Emma, sharing joy with other peers, caressing and holding one another, an ominous indicator of separation that looms ahead regarding their lives between a pair with such high aspiring ambitions emanating from differing upbringings. The art gallery party scene in Blue is the Warmest Color is a poignant representation of Adele's alienation in Emma's world. The film captures the complexity of their relationship through the keen direction and cinematography, underlining the social and emotional gaps that threaten to tear them apart. While the nature of the relationship between Adele and Emma keeps on changing, the challenges they encounter are at the level of personal growth, societal expectations, and changes that time will bring. The confrontation and breakup between Adele and Emma are so emotionally raw that they leave an indelible mark on the viewer's heart. When Blue is the Warmest Color reaches its crescendo, the relationship of Adele with Emma, inflated with passion and promise, starts giving way to frustration at unmet expectations and insecurities. This pivotal confrontation leading to their breakup makes a powerful culmination point of all these tensions, which point out at once the inextricably tied complexities and challenges in that bond. This scene is set in the intimacy of their apartment, a space where their love has been nurtured. The camera dwells on every minutest detail, the disheveled bed, as if it were an extension of the disarray within the relationship. Scattered belongings, like the disorder within. This disarray in visuals underlines the emotional turmoil that both characters are suffering from. Adele's betrayal serves as the spark that sets off the confrontation. Emma, upon finding out about Adele's betrayal, confronts her with hurt and disbelief. The dialogue is sharp and raw, with Emma expressing her feelings of betrayal and questioning the authenticity of their love. Overwhelmed by guilt and the fear of losing Emma, Adele tries to explain herself, but her explanations are insufficient and the gap between them widens. The argument builds up, with the two airing complaints that had been simmering below the surface. Emma tells Adele that she is naive and immature. Adele retorts that Emma is distant and caught up in her art career. These confrontations expose underlying tensions that have frayed the threads of their relationship. Different priorities, expectations never voiced, and the complex process of trying to balance growth and a common history. Where the cinematography is really striking in this scene is in the close-ups, showing raw emotion upon their faces, emphasizing how painful and vulnerable these moments truly are for them both. The natural lighting involves shadows, symbolizing the encroaching darkness upon their relationship and the end of an era and separation to come. At the peak of the confrontation, Emma says, "I don't love you anymore." That was the straw that broke the camel's back, smashing what was left of the two. The silence afterwards is deafening because it carries the weight of unsaid words and the acceptance of the irreversibility of the change in their relationship. It is not only the end of a romantic relationship, but also the dissolution of the common dream and identity. Adele and Emma, who hitherto sought refuge and understanding from each other, are now left to their own resources in negotiating the intricacies of their separate existences. This seclusion compels both of them to face their personal failures and the realities of their longings and expectations. Left afterward to pick up the pieces after the split and to come to terms with having lost a great love that heavily influenced her being, Adele is captured by the film, alone, and making sure to expose the emptiness that comes forth after the ending of such an important relationship. This is one of physical loneliness, but also more so emotional, as she reflects on herself and what the time with Emma taught her. The breakup scene in Blue Is the Warmest Color is a tour de force, complex, touching, and instructive on how love, betrayal, and self-discovery combine. It tugs deep into the human condition, capturing raw emotions from the painful and transformative journey that follows a breakup of a relationship with depth. As Adele takes her first steps into self-discovery and healing, she continues to experience new things, face different challenges, and shape her view on love and identity. The final meeting between Adele and Emma in a quaint cafe wraps up the lasting effect of their past love and brings complexities regarding identity, societal expectations, and personal growth into view. The cliché states that it's the journey that counts in love, not the destination. How about two souls that burned upon contact are again to come after all those intervening years? It finds an insistently candid answer on their deepest heart's radar as Adele and Emma eventually get that long-pending face-to-face showdown in the cafe laced with longing and regret, contrasting hues against finally having that much-deserved closure in store. Join us as we break down this iconic moment of film, which has a ton of emotion behind the love, the loss, and the moving on. It has been years since the fiery yet tempestuous romance between Adele and Emma crashed to an awfully jolting conclusion. Adele has grown into her own, and life, for her, no longer meanders through the paths defined by Emma. Whereas Emma had continued with her art and felt confident in that world that had seemed foreign to Adele, destiny would later again bring them together in a small cafe, setting up the most poignant reunion that will be breathless. The scene is quiet at the beginning. The clinking of cups and the indistinct murmurs of other patrons form a subdued backdrop, so different from the storm of emotions that is about to break. Adele, simply yet elegantly dressed, walks in with a hint of nervous anticipation etched across her face. Emma, already seated, exudes a composed demeanor. Her signature blue hair has faded to a more subtle hue, symbolizing the passage of time and change. The eyes meet, and for that split second, time stands still. Adele is fragile, a woman filled with unresolved feelings. Composed as Emma would seem to be, a flicker of emotion rapidly crosses her face, a testament to how much of an impact their once intense connection had. They exchange polite pleasantries, but the air between them is thick with unspoken words. The cafe, though bustling with life, fades into the background as the focus narrows solely on these two women. Every glance, every pause in their conversation carries weight. Her voice hovers and vibrates slightly when she talks of Emma's life. Emma elaborates about a successful career path and about living with a girlfriend. Pride pervades her tone while being subtly guarded. It's like an arm positioned over her breast to protect against any reaction of Adele. Adele is all ears, her face set in an expression of wonder and anguish. She is happy for Emma, but she cannot help feeling a pang deep in her heart. But when the turn for her life comes, in a very humble tone, she talks over the details, shifting to her teaching profession, one that has given her a goal and some stability in her life. As they talk, it becomes increasingly clear that old wounds have not healed for either of them. Emma's questions become incisive into Adele's inner life. Adele slowly unravels, admitting she has never really moved on despite the initial composure. "I think about you all the time," Adele says, the words raw with honesty. Emma's eyes soften, but she maintains her composure. She acknowledges that their love was real and transformative, but emphasizes that it belongs to the past. "We were beautiful together," Emma says gently, "but we've both changed." This is a painful admission to Adele, who had held on to the hope of rekindling their love. Set in this cafe, where every person is passing, so are the moments. The metaphor seems great for the impermanence of their relationship. Yet amidst all that pain, there is almost a kind of catharsis in the air. Adele and Emma take full blame for past missteps and for having hurt each other. No big reconciliation here, no promises of a reignited romance, just two people finding closure in acknowledgement of what they once shared. Emma's words, though gentle, carry a finality that Adele struggles to accept. She reaches across the table, her hand brushing against Emma's. The gesture is both a plea and a farewell. "I'll always love you," Adele whispers. Emma smiles sadly. "And I'll always remember you." A very sad, forlorn moment is made even sadder by its quiet simplicity. There were no dramatics, just plain and simple truth from both souls, and that is it. Their journey through life in company with each other is over. The manner of cinematography is really powerful at this point. It shoots close up with every wriggle of their faces to show the marked vulnerability and left affection between them. The contrastive warmth in the light of the cafe to the emotional cold of the parting brings attention visually to reflect on their taut inner conflict. The use of silence is particular in its potent impact. It's as if director Abdellatif Kechiche allows each silence to grow longer, pressing upon the depth of their discourse. The ambiance in the cafe acts as an understatement. Life goes on and does not really care for personal tragedies. This last meeting sums up some of the key themes from the film, which are about love, loss, identity, and personal growth. The love between Adele and Emma has been both passionately euphoric and painfully heart-wrenching, and as such, they have shaped the persons they have become. They are not simply saying goodbye to each other, but also to those parts of them that existed during their relationship. The cafe is a public and intimate place, symbolizing the crossroads at which they find themselves. It's a place where memories linger, but where new beginnings are also possible. For Adele, this meeting serves as a turning point and opportunity to finally let go and embrace the future. It's a very deeply echoing scene because this is what happens in the end. Love barely exists, but it leaves a mark on you. The raw honesty in this final conversation between Adele and Emma invites the audience to reflect upon their own experiences with love and loss. Their separation is somehow in all its heart-rending beauty. A romantic voyage over, their love will remain forever in the form of cherished reminiscence. From nuance to a depth-defying cliché melodrama, it crowns Blue is the Warmest Color, a contemplative and unforgettable film. She looks at Adele, walking away with a quiet sense of acceptance. The weight of years lifts to make way for new possibilities. This painful meeting is testimony to the resilience of the human heart. And with that, we leave the story of Adele and Emma, one of love, growth, and bittersweet endings that has kept audiences worldwide entranced. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the most compelling moments in cinema. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know down in the comments what you think of this deep dive of Blue is the Warmest Color. See you again here in Sapphic Nook.